Hey everybody, it's Mike from AMZ Advisors, and today I have Ben Stein with me from Payoneer, and we're going to be talking about managing international payments and taxes as an e-commerce seller. Hi Ben, thanks for being here with us.
Hey, Mike. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to chat today.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I just thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself and about your company and what you do there.
Yeah, of course. Just as you mentioned, Payoneer is a cross-border transaction platform. Payoneer's mission is to go beyond. We really want our sellers to go beyond borders, go beyond limits, and go beyond their own expectations as they're able to, take their businesses all across the world and really expand just beyond their home country. So I think that's really Payoneer. It kind of our core as it relates to e-commerce sellers. Payoneer more is uniquely positioned as we sit really between the marketplaces and the sellers themselves. So we have partnerships on both sides. We enable those marketplaces to pay their sellers and help their sellers, expand their businesses. And at the same time, those sellers can receive the funds and use those funds to pay suppliers or vendors or source new products and really participate in this global economy. It's been really fun here at Payoneer, and we're just seeing growth continue to rise.
Awesome. That's always great when things are growing and going in the right direction.
Oh yeah.
So from your standpoint, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that e-commerce sellers have when it comes to selling online?
Yeah, selling online is it's tough. It's not a one size fits all situation. There's no just cookie cutter where you can launch your product and really expect those great results. So I think as an e-commerce seller, some of the biggest challenges I see are busting through some of those expectations and really being able to find the products that fit for you and be able to grow and really dominate within your vertical and within your products.
Okay.
Something we've seen here at Payoneer is that e-commerce growth is just been accelerating at such a rapid pace recently. And with that just comes more competition and more people entering the market. So when we look at markets and we think of really global e-commerce, certain markets are saturated and others aren't. As we were discussing earlier, and I'm sure that you advise a lot of your clients as well, that and that really ties back to Payoneer's core mission here is to just go beyond, kind of find that next marketplace and find a vertical or product in a marketplace where you can be successful as a seller.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's one of the issues that we were talking about earlier is that a lot of these sellers have trouble figuring out how to do order fulfillment, dealing with different transactions fees, taxes, things like that. So how does a seller deal with all those different types of things, getting their bank accounts, getting set up properly in other countries, and how does Payoneer assist with that?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if I'm a seller and I'm here in the US or I'm in Europe, I'm comfortable operating my home country, but when I look to expand borders, uh, you just have no idea. Google can take you so far, and there's a ton of different resources out there. But as it relates to getting set up internationally and transacting a lot of those funds internationally, that's really what Payoneer comes in, is really able to help a lot of these sellers. Payoneer operates in 14 different countries all over the world and has partnerships with hundreds of banks all over the world, operates in various currencies to really help those sellers go global. So with a Payoneer account, a US-based seller or a seller in their home country, I guess we'll just use US as a great example here, can sell and really operate on all of Amazon's different marketplaces, can operate on other marketplaces in South America, in Europe, in Australia, really all over the world. They can use that Payoneer account to transact in those marketplaces, to connect to those various marketplaces, be paid out in that marketplace's local currency, and then repatriate those funds to their home currency, all using their Payoneer account. So we make it really easy and seamless, again, for these, I'm going to say it over and over, but for these sellers to just go beyond their borders and really go beyond their previous expectations. It's pretty
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, no, that's great. And now that you work with some of these sellers that have done this, how are they dealing with the operational challenges, not just the finance aspects of it, of selling in the other countries?
Yeah, I found that seems to be another just really easy hurdle to get over for a lot of these sellers. Payoneer has a lot of great partnerships out there, and even with companies that we don't have partnerships with, I think there are just a lot of great tools and resources and vendors out there for sellers who have their specific product and are looking to sell into various marketplaces or get into certain marketplaces. There's a lot of great tools out there for sellers, whether it's shipping and logistics challenges or sourcing challenges, or if sellers want to, optimize their listings to get into a specific country. I think there's just a lot of great tools out there for sellers to be able to capitalize on this global market.
Okay, awesome. So I think one of the things that I've always wondered, and one of the things that we try to help our clients figure out, but it's not really our specialty, is the way to deal with their sales in those other countries. Like, should they repatriate the money? Should they keep the money there? Like, in your opinion, why would a seller either choose to keep money in another country or another currency, or bring it back to whatever their home country or home currency is?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on each business and what these businesses are doing. I guess one, with their funds, and then secondarily where their vendors or their products are. So if a US based seller here is having a lot of success in the UK or having a lot of success in Europe with selling, and maybe their vendors are in the UK or in Europe, then I would say that makes sense to keep those funds in that local currency there, so they can pay their vendors and not have to go through a lot of transaction fees or pay certain fees, and they're converting those funds from euros to US dollars or British pounds to US dollars, for example, and having to transfer those back. However, on the other side of the coin, if you're a seller who's doing really well, selling in the UK, selling in Australia, selling in Europe, you're getting paid out in various currencies, and your team is domestic here, your marketing team, your Amazon listing team, your any of your shippers or warehouses, anything like that, that's where I think it really makes sense to then repatriate those funds back to US dollars. So you can really just capitalize and have it all centralized in one bank account.
Awesome. That's a great explanation. So from your experience, what typical costs are there with repatriating money to your home country?
Yeah, it's unfortunately, holistically, when we think about it, it gets a little expensive to repatriate those funds and move money across borders. You have to pay, the conversion fees, and there are certain entities that will charge more, charge less. We see Amazon has a really easy and seamless way to do this for a lot of sellers. You can just use Amazon services, but their fees tend to be a little bit higher than kind of the average market fees. And that's really where Payoneer comes in. We make it really seamless and very easy for our customers to have local receiving accounts, to pay any of their services or VAT, anything through really using their Payoneer account. And we really allow our sellers to do it at a much lower fee than we feel than the marketplaces, than Amazon or than a lot of those other services out there.
Okay, great. And that was actually talking about VAT. That's actually the next question I had. How do e-commerce sellers and other marketplaces handle dealing with the various VAT laws depending on whatever country they're selling in?
Yeah, VAT is tough. If you're not in the EU or in the UK, I think VAT is just one of those confusing things that you have to either find a great partner to work with or try to, tackle yourself and figure it out. For me, it's something that confused me a lot at first. But Payoneer does make that easy. You can pay your EU and UK taxes, with your Payoneer account. We provide that as a service. It's really great. Payoneer also has other partners out there that'll help sellers pay their VAT and their local taxes. But it's definitely a daunting thing to have to do if it's something you're not used to and something that's not being taken out either by the entity or the marketplace themselves or the authorities within that state. So we try to make it very easy and seamless. You can do that through your Payoneer account.
Okay, cool. That's similar to one of the other things that we talked about that I thought was really interesting when we first spoke, is the ability for sellers to mitigate exchange rate losses from changing currency from one currency to another through using Payoneer. So maybe you could explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, of course. So that's one of the great value propositions of Payoneer. If you are a seller and you have your Payoneer account, you're connecting that to your Amazon marketplace. Amazon is paying you out to your Payoneer account. Maybe you're sourcing products from China or Asia, Maybe you have, vendors in Eastern Europe, you have vendors in South America, Canada, all operating various currencies. With your Payoneer account, we make it very seamless and easy to pay other Payoneer users. There are no transaction fees when using your Payoneer account. And it's a really great way that we feel and we've seen that our sellers say to pay their other vendors, and our sellers are able to pay their vendors, to receive money from marketplaces, all operating within this Payoneer account and really just reducing and mitigating their fees.
Yeah, it definitely makes it simpler when you can keep everything in one place instead of dealing with the banks and exchanges and everything.
Yeah, and I think you guys, Mike, have seen on your end too, with a lot of your customers who are going to other marketplaces, who are expanding their businesses, and I'm sure often they're looking up and down trying to figure out how to navigate through all these fees.
Oh yeah, exactly. Every seller deals with the same issues, especially you don't have someone on the ground in whatever home country or whatever country you're trying to sell in. It makes it way more complicated to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
But
And that's why Payoneer, like I said, we have operate in 14 different countries. And we have 17 offices in those 14 different countries, and it really is the boots on the ground. We really helps us navigate through different banking issues and different local issues that we've seen to really enable our sellers to have that global network and again to expand their businesses.
Great. So you're allowing e-commerce sellers to kind of leverage your experience on the ground and dealing with these things to their advantage and simplifying a lot of those aspects.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it really is that complete global coverage, offices all over the world. And with that too, our sellers, if they have issues finding maybe a manufacturing partner in a certain country, or they're looking to source their goods, or looking to locally ship their goods and control their supply chain in another market or in another region, we have great partnerships all around the world, great options all around the world to help those little nuanced issues that our sellers may have.
Awesome. That's good to know. And are there other ways that you help your sellers with what other challenges they may be facing, particularly with challenges that have come up recently with like COVID and dealing with supply chain interruptions?
Yeah, I think COVID has really expedited a lot of the technology and really forced sellers to adapt new processes and diversify their businesses. For better or for worse, I think that sellers were heavily reliant on kind of the easiest way to operate their businesses, whether it was sourcing from a specific region, shipping out of certain bigger warehouses, and then just selling their products into one or two different marketplaces. The trends that I've really seen is that sellers are diversifying not only their own supply chain, the way that they're operating their businesses, but then the avenues and marketplaces which they're shipping into as well. Through that, I think that this has really been a wake-up call for a lot of sellers and a lot of my colleagues as well too, to understand and think kind of bigger picture of how can we connect everyone globally, and how can we help sellers navigate through these tough times. Talking about acceleration, I think the stat that I've seen floating around a lot is that in the past 3 months, e-commerce has grown more than it has in the past 10 years. And I view that as e-commerce is just filling the shoes that we've been wearing for the longest time. Everyone is really caught up. The infrastructure is caught up, and it's just ripe for the taking right now if you're an Amazon seller or an e-commerce seller for that matter. So yeah, in the past 3 months, what we've really seen is that e-commerce has done more volume in the last 3 months than it has in the previous 10 years. And just that growth is really exciting. Everything that I've seen and I've read, I feel like sellers and e-commerce is really just catching up and filling the shoes of that infrastructure that we've been wearing and has been previously built for the last 10 years.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And that's exactly what we've been seeing with our clients and just from people reaching out to us. All these sellers and retailers and stores are in a rush to get online because they weren't there before. They were primarily focused on brick and mortar, and everyone's shopping online now. And it really accelerated a lot of the trends in e-commerce. I think that's what we're seeing today.
Yeah, so I think at this point, diversification and expanding multi-channel is huge. Amazon is obviously dominant within the space, and they control a lot of the e-commerce space with their global reach and the marketplaces they're expanding into all the time, operating in new marketplaces and opening up. As we saw recently with Saudi Arabia, and we see Australia growing a lot. But But I think really Walmart and Walmart.com are making a huge push within the space as well. I think that's going to be a next channel that, that sellers and e-commerce sellers really jump on here in the future.
Yeah, I agree. That's that's the other big channel that we push sellers to. But there's lots of examples of other channels being more popular in foreign countries. I mean, you can look back to eBay's presence in China and how terribly they failed there, and how there's other platforms for clothing, apparel in Europe that are doing better than the e-commerce channels. So really expanding to different channels is the way that you're going to give your business the best opportunity to grow, I think. And I really agree with that.
Yeah, and again, finding that right fit for your business. Not all of our sellers are selling in that one marketplace, that one niche. You'd be surprised, and I'm sure you can add this into, Mike, that sellers might find that their one product just hits really well in a certain country, and for whatever reason doesn't in another. And it may be that country that they don't expect, or that niche, that vertical, and they'll find a lot of success selling.
Yeah, you see that all the time. It's very common on Amazon, especially. Just less competition, the way things are written, the way things are changed between languages. Sometimes things just pop, and then all of a sudden your sales take off. So you could be missing a great opportunity if you're not getting onto these other platforms as an e-commerce seller. All right. Well, thanks so much, Ben. Is there anything else that you think we should cover or haven't covered, or that other e-commerce sellers or our listeners should know about Payoneer?
No, I think we've covered a lot of it. Payoneer is really here as a tool to help our sellers expand, help our sellers go global, and really help our sellers go beyond. We really see the market expansion and the global opportunity for a lot of our sellers. Something we talk about here at Payoneer is the fourth revolution. Really, the East meets the West. The technology is helping connect everyone. That it's easier, and it's now easier than ever to sell beyond borders, to participate in the global economy. And frankly, I think right now is the time. Strike while the iron is hot. E-commerce is on the rise, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So with that, Mike, I just want to say thanks. I think we had a great talk, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to have you on here anytime. It was great learning more about what Payoneer does and just dealing with international markets in general. If any of the listeners want to learn more about Payoneer or about dealing with these types of international monetary issues, what should they go to, or what resources does Payoneer have for them?
Yeah, of course. They can go to Payoneer.com to learn a lot more. They can email me, which I know we included here in the video as well, or Mike, they can reach out to you, and we'd love to help any customers or any sellers who are looking to go beyond.
All right, that sounds great. All right, thank you again, Ben, for being here. It was great talking with you, and we'll talk again soon sometime.
Great, thanks so much.
Thanks. Have a good day.